Greetings everyone, Ben here from TheVirtualEconomist, and welcome to a new video. Now, as you can probably tell from the title, this video is in fact going to be about how I made an incredible amount of profit this Halloween event. It's no joke, I actually made over 400 keys profit. I know a lot of you guys were sad when I ended Keys to Riches, as a lot of you guys really wanted me to continue at least making periodic trading update videos. While I can't exactly promise that, I can say that this video is a lot like a trading story video, a Keys to Riches episode, and a monthly update video all in one, so I definitely think that you guys are going to enjoy the video. Alright guys, so let's get right on into it. Okay, so this whole trading story actually started right after my unboxing video. Now, in the unboxing video, I actually went on to Vatican City so I could unbox the crates with everybody else seeing what I got. And when I finished unboxing all of my crates, obviously I didn't get any unusuals, so I was kinda disappointed. However, I saw somebody on the server who was quick selling his Bonzo the All-9 Hamburg for 30% off. Now, I didn't actually know how much the Hamburg was, but I knew that 30% off a Bonzo the All-9 hat had to be an insane deal. So I went ahead and traded this guy up, and I realized that the Bonzo hat was actually priced on backpack.tf at a price of 62 keys. So 30% off of that would be 43 keys pure, which I said I could do, and we were able to make the trade. Now, like I was saying, Bonzo is just such a great effect because of its insane rarity. It is arguably a very, very nice effect, but there's less than 300 of them in existence, meaning that if you want to get one of them, you're going to have to pay a lot, and I felt that paying 43 keys pure here was a steal for such a great hat. So, after having the hat for a few days, I received a trade offer that basically threw me headfirst into trading with new unusuals. This trade offer was actually from another TF2 YouTuber by the name of Kadamono, and he was obviously interested in my Hamburg. And he offered two new Halloween unusuals. One of them was an Infernal Flames Meet the Medic taunt, and also a Starstorm Slumber Brigade helm. Now, when I initially looked at the offer, obviously my first thought was, oh crap, two new unpriced unusuals, this is going to be a pain to sell. Now, when I did a little bit more research, I was able to get a rough guesstimate as to how much I valued each unusual to be at, and I valued the Meet the Medic at around 50 keys, and the Slumber Brigade Helm at around 30 keys, but of course it is important to keep in mind here that, as with all new unpriced unusuals, there is really no way I can get a firm price on each of these unusuals. I was basically just going off looking at the other prices of the Meet the Medic taunt, and the other prices of the Brigade Helm, with effects that I felt like would be pretty similar in tier. Upon adding the two values of these unusuals, I got that they would be worth about 80 keys, which obviously the Hamburg is worth 62 keys, so I felt like it would probably be good enough overpay. Now, since Kadamono is a YouTuber, I figured it would only be fitting to have him on to explain exactly why he decided to make the trade. Take it away, Kadamono.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Kadamono. So, to be honest with you guys, it's not that interesting of a story because I was nearing that point of endgame, right? I had been trading for quite a while, I'd say a couple years, and I was kind of out of the game a bit, and I had a lot of items in my inventory at the time, and I was kind of just looking to get to that point where I wasn't really looking to, make big plays and trades, no scrap to unusual series for me, right? I just wanted to, own the items that I had, and that was like it, and just play the game as vanilla as I could. This was the one that I had seen, and I caught my eye because I am a pretty big fan of the hat. It's kind of like the Noir in a way, but not exactly, and it has my favorite effect, which is the Bonzo. So I figured, fuck it, might as well finish it up here, wrap it up, and get this hat, and then that's really it. That's all I really have for the story. I realize it's not the most interesting in the world, just because I'm not a very big trader. I don't know how to end this piece, so I'm gonna let you do it, because I don't know what I'm talking about now.
Alright, thank you Kadamono. So I guess it wound up working out pretty well for me that I was the one looking to make some big plays. So now at this point, I basically had the two unusuals, so I decided to go ahead and list them on backpack.tf and TF2 Outpost. The Halloween event hadn't actually been going on for very long at this point, so I figured I should definitely set the buyouts high. The reason for this is that a lot of people hype buy a lot of new unusuals, so I figured if I set my buyouts higher than what I expected them to get priced at, I would definitely be able to maximize my profit. I went ahead and listed the Meet the Medic taunt for 85 keys and unusuals, and I went ahead and listed the Brigade Helm for 40 keys and unusuals, significantly more than I expected them to sell for. Of course, it definitely surprised me when somebody added me the next day who was definitely interested in the unusual Medic taunt. They had so many different purple effects in their backpack, and they were definitely a purple effect collector. So I figured they might pay pretty handsomely for the unusual. And they offered me a clean orbiting fire rack. And initially that was a very good offer. I was thinking about it, I was like, I probably could just accept this. but I asked the guy, since I had a higher buyout, could he add anything more? And he said yes, he could add something more. He added a Ghastly Ghost Jr. Baron von Havern plane, which is priced at around 40 keys. The Orbiting Fire rack is priced at 62 keys, so 62 plus 42 is 104 keys in unusuals. Obviously, I just went ahead and accepted that trade offer as fast as I could, as it was an insane amount in unusuals. I was making so much profit already, and I still hadn't sold the other unusual. Just when I thought I couldn't get any better offers, the next day I had somebody add me who was interested in the Brigade Helm. At the time, the Brigade Helm was one of one, and I actually think it still is right now. The guy was a Pyro main, so he was definitely interested in the unusual. And guess what? He was willing to pay 39 keys pure on the Brigade Helm. Honestly, I could not believe I was able to sell it for my higher buyout, let alone in pure keys. If you remember all the way back to the beginning of this trade sequence, you'd remember that I invested 43 keys into the Bonzo the All-9 Hamburg for the Spy. Now I had 39 keys pure and 104 keys in unusuals, basically meaning that I bought those two unusuals for 4 keys pure over 100 keys profit. That was incredibly insane, and I just could not believe that I was able to get those offers. What I realized was that these new unusuals, while being semi-risky, had the potential to have insane upside, especially when combined with hype. So, over the next few weeks, I decided that I would invest heavily in the new unusuals so I could make a crap ton of profit like I had just made. Specifically, I wanted to invest in the new unusual taunts and the taunt unusualifiers, since in the past, unusual taunts had sold very, very well. My plan was essentially this. I would go ahead and try to find people who would be willing to sell their new unusuals for very, very cheap, usually because they thought that they would be cheap in the long run, and then go ahead and sell those unusuals to people who would be willing to trade into the hype. Using a combination of the Steam community market, TF2 outposts, and idling on trade servers, I was actually able to buy I think around 6 or 7 new unusuals for less than 25 keys pure. Then I just went ahead and offered them on trade servers and was often able to get anywhere from 40 to 60 keys in unusuals for a single new unusual. When this method worked, it worked like a charm. I was able to make at least 30 keys profit on multiple trades, which was pretty insane. However, as the event got nearer and nearer towards ending, it seemed like it was harder and harder to make these trades. Now, it wasn't actually hard to buy new unusuals, it was actually extremely difficult to sell these new unusuals for high prices. What happened was that so many people were unboxing new unusuals that pretty much everybody on a trade server got offered these new unusuals left and right and left and right and left and right, to the point where they pretty much were like, no, I am flat out not trading for any new unusuals. And this sucked, because a lot of the new unusual taunts are very, very awesome looking, and the ones that I traded for were all very, very nice, and it was really stupid because people were just boycotting all of these new effects, even though the new taunt effects were actually pretty insane. Obviously, this sucked for me a lot, but fortunately, when the event ended, it also opened up another opportunity for me to make a crap ton of profit. Remember the taunt unusualifiers? Well, when they first came out, a lot of people were really confused as to how they worked, and initially it was cleared up that they would actually just apply a random effect on the taunt specified. This got a lot of people to speculate that when the event ended, people would actually be able to get old unusual taunt effects on the new unusual taunts. And 2 days after the event ended, Valve time for you right there, Valve actually released a patch that confirmed this for sure. The patch basically just said that when you apply an unusualifier on a taunt, it would now give you an old classic effect. And for me, that meant a huge way to make profit. Remember, there were a bunch of new unusual taunts that were newly available in the unusual quality, and they had previously none of the old classic effects on them. During the event, pretty much anybody who unboxed a taunt unusualifier just went ahead and used it right away. What this meant was that there was hardly any taunt unusualifiers just lying around after the update, meaning that if you wanted to go ahead and apply a taunt unusualifier and you applied it to a taunt that had previously not had any unusual effects on it, you would be able to get a very, very rare effect, meaning that it could be worth a crap ton. I had a sneaking suspicion that this might actually be the case, so I made sure not to trade any of my taunt unusualifiers that I picked up for very cheap. In fact, I actually wound up picking up a most wanted unusualifier for around 25 keys in unusuals, and a party trick unusualifier for 30 keys pure that I had still in my backpack when the event ended. I figured there's really no reason for me not to apply them, so I just went ahead and applied them right away. On the most wanted unusualifier, I actually wound up getting Mega Strike, which is a pretty cool effect, but it's definitely more of a mid-range unusual taunt effect. It was originally 1 of 1, but a few days later, other people were able to get the exact same effect, meaning that it went to about 1 of 4, and another seller listed theirs at 50 keys, so I'm just going to value it at 50 keys since there's no way I could sell mine for higher. On the Party Trick Unusualifier, I used it and actually wound up getting Skill Gotten Gains, which was priced on backpack.tf at 50 keys, since it was actually an old unusual taunt. While neither of these effects were far from the best, they were also far from the worst, so I really wasn't going to complain with them. I mean, I technically already made 20 keys profit on the Party Trick, and I can definitely make at least 25 on the Most Wanted Unusualifier, so they're both pretty solid. At this point, I had already made a lot of profit this Halloween event. However, I wanted to see if I could pick up any more taunt unusualifiers, since I really did want to see if I could get any better effects. And browsing Outpost for a while, I actually found 2 new taunt unusualifiers I could buy. The first one was actually an all-class unusualifier, the second-rate sorcery. Now, a lot of other people were selling theirs for around 100 to 150 keys, but I found a guy who was willing to sell it for around 75 in unusuals. I tried to offer him a lot of bad unusuals, but he really only wanted good stuff, and that wound up being the Orbiting Fire rack that I acquired earlier. I wound up adding 12 keys pure and a 2 key strange, which totaled out to be around 75 keys in stuff. I also found somebody on TF2 Outpost that was selling their Boston Breakdance Unusualifier for 25 keys pure. I felt like that was a very good price, especially considering the Boston Breakdance was another new unusual taunt, meaning that it had previously 0 of the old effects. Now, I have to admit, when I applied these, I got pretty darn lucky. When I applied the second-rate sorcery, I actually wound up getting Holy Grail. Now, Holy Grail is by far my favorite effect from the first gen unusual taunt effects, and it just looks insane. And on top of that, it was actually 1 of 1, meaning that it was the only one in existence. And I just could not believe that I'd gotten that. That was insane. Honestly, I would value it at least 200 keys, which is far more than I put in the first place. Pretty much, there was no way I could sell this without making at least 100 keys profit, which was just insane to think about. When I went ahead and applied the Boston Breakdance Unusualifier, I actually wound up getting Holy Grail as well, which, after getting the first Holy Grail, wasn't quite as amazing, but it is still an insane effect. There were actually a good amount of these already in existence, so it wasn't exactly the most rare of unusual taunts. However, some of the other sellers were selling it for around 80 to 100 keys, so I feel like I could sell it for at least maybe 60 to 70 keys in unusuals, which is still pretty insane considering I bought it for 25 keys pure. Now, if you thought that all the profit that I had made so far was just, pretty good, nothing special there, well, just you wait. A few days later, I got an ad from Ace, the 9th largest backpack on backpack.tf. Now, what I always do when I see somebody adding me, I always go ahead and look at their backpack to just go ahead and try to figure out what they would be offering. And it became pretty darn clear right away what he would be offering on. And if you saw his backpack, he had pretty much every single Holy Grail taunt in existence, along with a huge, insane collection of sunbeams. When I see people like this, one word always comes to mind: pure. Because if somebody like this is going to have such a big collection, they're probably paying in pure keys. Of course, the first thing I asked him was what he would be willing to offer on my unusual, and he said he would be willing to either offer pure keys or PayPal cash. I didn't really want to deal with PayPal because, there's a lot of easy ways to get scammed, even if he is a very legit trader. So I just wanted to go ahead and go with pure keys. And I offered, hey, could you do 300 pure keys? Now, that was definitely higher than I could have done. I would have accepted 200 pure, I would have accepted 250 pure, I would have accepted 300 pure. But the thing is, with collectors, they really don't care that much. All they want to do is get the unusual and get the item, and honestly, I figured he would be willing to do 300. And after thinking for a little bit, he said yes, he could do 300 pure keys on my Holy Grail second-rate sorcery. It took him a few days to get the keys, but once we were able to make the trade, it was just really surreal. I mean, getting 300 pure keys at once, that is just insane. You're able to get so much, and, with those pure keys, I could just go ahead and buy so many more quick sells, and if I bought quick sells with all those keys, it would be really like 450 keys in unusuals. Like, it was just the best offer ever. I really could not have ever gotten anything better on that taunt, and it was just so insane. I mean, originally, I paid 75 keys, and here I was getting 300 pure, meaning I made over 225 pure keys profit. And in total during the Halloween event, I definitely made over 400 keys. So there you have it, folks, an insane combination of skill and incredible RNG, and I was able to make so much pure profit this Halloween event. I bet a lot of you guys are probably thinking to yourselves, oh crap, I wasn't able to take advantage of any of this profit. But I'd like to say, hey, Next year there's going to be another Halloween event, and there's probably going to be more updates down the road where they add brand new unusual effects. Maybe you'll be able to learn something from this video so that when the new update comes, you'll be able to make a crap ton of profit yourself. So that's basically going to be the video, guys. I hope you guys all enjoyed, and if any of you guys had any experiences with the Halloween event, with trading with unusuals, or maybe making some profit, go ahead and leave those in the comment section down below so others can see just what was going on this Halloween event. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.